1,000 Pounds Sisters Season 8 shocker. Tammy reveals dark secrets about Amy fans never saw coming today. Today's update surrounding 1,000 Pounds Sisters Season 8 has completely shaken the fan community as new claims involving Tammy and Amy Slaton have started spreading rapidly online. What was expected to be another emotional but familiar chapter in their journey has now turned into one of the most controversial and talked about moments in the show's history. According to circulating discussions, Tammy Slaton has allegedly opened up about deeply personal and previously unknown struggles within her relationship with Amy Slaton. These revelations, whether interpreted as emotional truth, frustration, or reality TV tension, have left fans questioning everything they thought they knew about the sisters' bond. Tammy is said to have addressed long-standing issues that were never fully shown on camera, suggesting that behind the laughter, support, and public appearances, there have been layers of conflict, emotional distance, and misunderstandings that built up over time. She reportedly expressed that life under constant public attention has intensified every disagreement between them, making small issues feel much larger and more personal than they actually were. In her explanation, Tammy focused heavily on the emotional pressure both sisters have experienced while navigating weight loss journeys, family responsibilities, and personal relationships. What shocked fans the most is the suggestion that Amy's behavior during certain periods may not have reflected what viewers believed they were seeing on screen. Tammy allegedly hinted that there were moments when communication between them broke down completely, leaving unresolved tension that was never properly addressed. This does not necessarily confirm any literal dark secret, but instead paints a picture of emotional complexity between two siblings who have lived much of their lives in front of cameras. Tammy's words, as discussed in fan circles, suggest that reality television may have only shown fragments of a much deeper story. Amy, on the other hand, has often been portrayed as the more emotionally open and expressive sister. However, according to the narrative emerging from these discussions, there may have been times when Amy felt overwhelmed, misunderstood, or pressured in ways that were not fully visible to the audience. Tammy's alleged comments also bring attention to the idea that both sisters may have experienced their struggles differently, even when going through similar life challenges. This difference in emotional processing is suggested to be one of the key reasons behind misunderstandings that escalated over time. Fans have reacted strongly to these claims, with social media platforms filled with debates, theories, and emotional responses. Some viewers believe this is simply another example of reality TV editing shaping narratives in dramatic ways, while others feel it could be a genuine glimpse into unresolved family tension. What makes this situation even more intense is the timing. Season 8 has already been emotionally heavy, focusing on personal growth, setbacks, and evolving relationships. Adding these alleged revelations into the mix has only amplified viewer curiosity and speculation. Tammy's perspective, as described in these discussions, does not seem to come from a place of hostility alone, but rather from frustration and emotional exhaustion built up over years of shared struggles. She is said to have reflected on how difficult it is to separate personal family life from public entertainment. One of the most discussed points is the suggestion that certain disagreements between the sisters may have been downplayed or completely left out of the show. If true, this means audiences may have only seen the polished version of their relationship, not the full emotional reality behind it. However, it is also important to understand that reality television is heavily edited, and narratives are often shaped to fit episodic storytelling. This means any shocking secret circulating online should be viewed carefully and not taken as confirmed fact unless directly stated by the individuals involved. Despite that, the emotional weight of the discussion remains strong. Fans feel deeply connected to Tammy and Amy because they have watched their journey for years. Every disagreement, every recovery milestone, and every emotional breakdown feels personal to the audience. Tammy's alleged revelations therefore hit harder than usual because they challenge the image of unity and sisterhood that viewers have held onto for so long. Even the possibility of hidden tension creates a sense of disbelief among longtime followers of the show. Amy's journey has often been associated with emotional vulnerability and personal transformation. She has faced public struggles, relationship changes, and the pressure of raising a family while being in the spotlight. According to the narrative being discussed, these pressures may have also influenced how she interacted with Tammy during difficult periods. Meanwhile, Tammy's transformation over recent seasons has been nothing short of dramatic. From health challenges to major lifestyle changes, her journey has been one of resilience and public accountability. This growth may also have shifted how she views past conflicts, leading her to speak more openly about them now. Some fans interpret Tammy's alleged comments as a form of emotional release rather than accusation. In this view, she may simply be processing years of experiences that were never fully expressed at the time they happened. Others, however, see it as a sign of deeper unresolved conflict that could potentially resurface in future episodes or specials. The uncertainty is part of what makes the situation so gripping for viewers. What remains clear is that the Slaton sisters' relationship continues to be complex, layered, and deeply tied to their shared history. Like many siblings, their bond appears to have gone through cycles of closeness, tension, misunderstanding, and reconciliation. The added pressure of fame only magnifies these natural dynamics. Every disagreement becomes public. Every emotional moment becomes content. Every private struggle becomes a topic of discussion for millions. This is why Tammy's alleged statements, whether fully accurate or partially interpreted through online discussion, have created such a strong emotional reaction. They challenge the simplified version of reality that viewers often see on television. As discussions continue, fans are waiting for clarity, whether from upcoming episodes, interviews, or direct statements from Tammy or Amy themselves. Until then, everything remains in the realm of speculation, interpretation, and ongoing debate. But one thing is certain: the emotional intensity surrounding 1,000 Pounds Sisters Season 8 has reached a new level, and audiences are more invested than ever in understanding what is truly happening behind the scenes of the Slaton family's journey. For now, viewers are left with questions rather than answers. Was this a misunderstanding amplified by editing? Was it emotional frustration expressed in the heat of the moment? Or is there truly a deeper layer to the sisters' relationship that has never been fully revealed? Until confirmed information is shared directly by those involved, the truth remains layered and complex, just like the relationship between Tammy and Amy themselves. And that complexity is exactly why fans continue to watch, continue to discuss, and continue to be emotionally invested in every new development. Because at the heart of it all, this is not just a story about television drama. It is a story about family, struggle, growth, and the difficult process of understanding each other under extreme pressure. As the conversation around Tammy Slaton's alleged revelations continues to spread, the situation has taken an even deeper emotional turn in this final part of the story. Fans are no longer just reacting to shock value, they are now analyzing every possible angle of the sisters' long and complicated relationship. What has become clearer through ongoing discussions is that the tension between Tammy and Amy Slaton cannot be reduced to a single argument, a single episode, or a single moment. Instead, it reflects years of shared struggles, personal growth, emotional burnout, and the overwhelming pressure of living life in the public eye. Tammy's perspective, as described in online conversations, now appears less like a simple reveal and more like a reflection of emotional exhaustion built over time. She is believed to have expressed that there were moments when misunderstandings between her and Amy were never fully resolved, slowly building into emotional distance. According to the narrative being discussed, Tammy also suggested that fame played a major role in shaping how conflicts between them were perceived. What might have been private disagreements in a normal family became amplified situations once cameras and editing were involved. This added layer has changed how fans interpret the entire situation. Instead of viewing it as a sudden dark secret, many now see it as a long history of emotional miscommunication that was never fully addressed in real time. Amy's side of the story, although not directly confirmed in this discussion, is often viewed through the lens of emotional pressure and responsibility. Fans point out that Amy has dealt with motherhood, relationship challenges, and personal transformation while being constantly filmed and judged by the public. This raises an important emotional question within the fandom: how much of what viewers saw was the real emotional truth, and how much was shaped by stress, timing, and editing decisions? Tammy's alleged reflections reportedly include a sense of regret as well, not necessarily regret about specific events, but about how long certain misunderstandings were allowed to remain unresolved. This interpretation paints a more human and less dramatic picture than the initial shock headlines suggested. Instead of pure conflict, what emerges is a story of two sisters who deeply care about each other but struggle to communicate effectively under pressure. That struggle becomes even more intense when every reaction is recorded, replayed, and analyzed by millions of viewers. Fans have begun to shift their tone as well. While earlier reactions were focused on shock and speculation, many now express sympathy for both Tammy and Amy. They recognize that reality TV often captures emotional extremes, but rarely shows the quiet moments where healing or understanding happens. Another key point being discussed is how personal growth may have changed the dynamic between them. Tammy's health transformation and Amy's evolving responsibilities may have created emotional distance simply due to life changes rather than intentional conflict. This idea has softened the narrative significantly. Instead of a betrayal story, it becomes a story of two people moving in different directions while still trying to maintain a family bond. Even so, the emotional weight of Tammy's alleged comments continues to resonate strongly with fans. It challenges long-held perceptions of their relationship and forces viewers to reconsider earlier seasons from a new perspective. Some fans are even revisiting older episodes, trying to identify moments that now seem different in hindsight. This rewatch culture has added another layer of engagement, as viewers attempt to connect past behavior with present interpretations. But despite all speculation, one important reality remains unchanged. Only Tammy and Amy themselves can fully clarify what is true, what is misunderstood, and what has been shaped by editing or online interpretation. Until then, the story exists in a space between reality and perception, where emotions feel real but details remain uncertain. What makes this situation so powerful is not just the idea of revelation, but the emotional connection fans feel toward both sisters. Viewers have watched them struggle, grow, fail, recover, and continue forward through years of public scrutiny. That long-term connection is why even rumors or partial statements carry such emotional weight. Fans are not just reacting to entertainment, they are reacting to people they feel they have grown up watching. As this final part of the discussion settles, the overall message becomes clearer. The story of Tammy and Amy Slaton is not defined by a single shocking moment, but by a long journey of imperfect communication, emotional resilience, and family complexity. The idea of dark secrets slowly fades when viewed through this lens, replaced instead by a more realistic understanding of human relationships under pressure. And perhaps that is why 1,000-Pound Sisters continues to draw such strong attention. It is not only about transformation or drama, it is about the deeply human struggle to understand each other while changing in front of the world. In the end, there may be no single shocking truth that changes everything. Instead, there is only the ongoing story of two sisters trying to navigate life, fame, and family, one complicated moment at a time. And that is what keeps fans watching, talking, and searching for answers that may never come in a simple form. As this final chapter unfolds in the ongoing discussion about 1,000-Pound Sisters Season 8, the emotional intensity surrounding Tammy and Amy Slaton reaches its peak. What began as shocking rumors and alleged revelations has now evolved into a broader reflection on family, healing, and misunderstood communication under extreme public pressure. At this stage, the narrative being discussed no longer focuses on secrets in the dramatic sense. Instead, it shifts towards something more grounded and human, how two sisters, each facing their own personal battles, can drift in and out of emotional alignment without ever truly losing their bond. Tammy Slaton's perspective, as interpreted through ongoing conversations, now appears to emphasize understanding rather than confrontation. The earlier shock value has faded, replaced by a more reflective tone suggesting that many past conflicts may have been the result of timing, stress, and emotional overload rather than deep personal betrayal. This shift in tone changes everything about how fans interpret the story. Instead of looking for hidden drama, viewers are now focusing on emotional context, what each sister was going through at different stages of their journey, and how those experiences may have shaped their reactions. Amy Slaton's journey, often seen through the lens of responsibility and emotional sensitivity, is also being reevaluated by fans in a more compassionate way. Many now recognize that she has carried multiple life pressures at once, from personal relationships to motherhood and constant public attention, all while being part of a heavily edited reality show environment. This broader understanding has softened earlier reactions. What once looked like conflict is now being reframed as emotional misalignment, moments where communication failed, not necessarily love or care. One of the most important realizations in this final part is that reality television rarely captures emotional continuity. It captures moments, not full conversations. It shows reactions, not always the events that cause them. And it presents timelines that can sometimes distort how relationships actually evolve in real life. Within this context, the idea of a shocking final truth becomes less about exposure and more about perspective. The truth, as fans now see it, is that human relationships, especially between siblings, are layered, inconsistent, and shaped by countless invisible factors that never appear on screen. Tammy and Amy's bond, despite all speculation, continues to reflect that reality. There are moments of closeness, moments of distance, and everything in between. That complexity is not unusual. It is deeply familiar in most families, but it becomes amplified when placed under public scrutiny. Fans, too, have changed their response. Instead of focusing only on dramatic interpretations, many now express a more balanced view, acknowledging both sisters' struggles while recognizing that outside commentary can never fully capture the truth of their lived experience. As the discussion settles, it becomes clear that there is no final explosive secret waiting to redefine everything. There is no single moment that explains the entire relationship. Instead, there is a long and ongoing story of growth, misunderstanding, emotional exhaustion, and gradual healing. And that may be the most honest conclusion of all. Because sometimes the most powerful reality is not hidden scandal or shocking exposure, but the simple fact that people grow, change, and sometimes struggle to stay emotionally connected while doing so. As this final part of the discussion comes to a close, the entire conversation surrounding Tammy and Amy Slaton takes on a much calmer and more grounded meaning. What started as explosive shocker, claims, and alleged revelations has now fully shifted into a broader reflection on how family relationships are interpreted through reality television and online speculation. At this point, the so-called final truth is not about hidden secrets or dramatic betrayals. Instead, it is about understanding how easily emotions, editing, and public interpretation can reshape the way audiences see real people and real relationships. Tammy Slaton, as discussed throughout these conversations, represents someone who has gone through intense personal transformation. Her journey has included health struggles, emotional growth, and public scrutiny that few people ever experience in such an exposed way. Because of that, her reflections are often viewed through multiple emotional layers: frustration, growth, honesty, and sometimes misinterpretation. Amy Slaton's journey carries a different, but equally complex emotional weight. She has faced life changes, family responsibilities, and personal challenges while being constantly in the spotlight. The emotional pressure of balancing real life with televised life has made her story deeply relatable to many viewers, but also easily misunderstood when taken out of context. When all the noise is removed, rumors, headlines, and exaggerated online discussions, what remains is a very simple but powerful truth. Both sisters are human beings navigating complicated lives under extraordinary circumstances. And in that reality, misunderstandings are not unusual. Emotional distance is not always permanent. Conflict does not always mean separation. And silence does not always mean truth is missing. Instead, it often means life is happening behind the scenes in ways the camera never fully captures. Fans who have followed 1,000-Pound Sisters for years now see this more clearly. The emotional reactions that once felt like shocking drama are now being reinterpreted as part of a long-term, evolving family relationship that naturally goes through phases of tension and closeness. What once looked like dark secrets now appears more like incomplete stories, moments without full context, reactions without full background, and emotions without full explanation. This final understanding does not reduce the importance of what Tammy and Amy have shared publicly. Instead, it adds depth to it. It reminds viewers that reality television is a fragmented lens, not a complete picture. And through that lens, the Slaton sisters' journey becomes less about scandal and more about endurance. Endurance through health challenges. Endurance through emotional stress. Endurance through public judgment. And endurance through the complicated nature of family bonds.